Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the Tottenham Digest, and I am Brian Ireland, your host today. Mr. Daigle is back in the UK at the moment and doing a lot for We're Tottenham TV, and so I'm gonna fill in for a little bit and do some digests, talking a little bit about what's going on with Spurs. Now, this specific digest is going to be about the transfer window, of course, because that's what we're all talking about. But I'm going to get a little bit more into some of the things surrounding it, as far as what it means to other clubs, what it means to our club, the difference between what we've seen previously and what we're seeing with this regime with Conte and Paratici in charge. It's been very exciting. Of course, so many things being announced. It feels like daily, like we're the ones who sign and everything. So let me get into it a little bit. I want to start with just some of the transfers so far. Obviously, we brought in Fraser Forster as a backup keeper. Good backup keeper, English, so we get a little bit of that. Pretty happy with that transfer. Galini wasn't really up to snuff, and I think Fraser Forster's going to do the job. I'm not going to get too much into the specifics of each of the transfers because I think that's been done a lot, including on today's show on We Are Tottenham TV with Mr. Daigle and Sim, who talked about a lot of the transfers they're going through. So I don't want to get too much into that. I want to talk about what it means for the club and what it means for other clubs in the Prem. So Fraser Forster, Ivan Perisic, of course, on a free, great business. I think he brings a lot to the team. I think, a lot of people talking about, especially opposition fans, talking about him being old and that being a problem. His statistics last season are absurd. His speed was higher. He had ran at a higher speed than any Spurs player did last season. So it tells you, the age thing. I think it's a misnomer. It's not something that we should be worried about too much, especially with a player with his experience. Like I said, not going to get too much into it. We got Yves Bissouma. This was announced today. Now, not announced by the club. I recognize this. It's been announced by Fabrizio Romano, who did the Here We Go. I think he did Here We Go. Either way, he spoke about it. He posted about it. It was on Sky Sports. It's kind of been across the board. It looks like it's a good deal that's going to go through. £27 million for Yves Bissouma. I mean, his statistics last season for Brighton were nuts. I mean, this guy. Yeah, replacement for Wanyama. Maybe not your Dembele replacement, but maybe a combination of the two. He has a great pass on him. He has a great shot. Very good defensively. Obviously, he breaks up play. He owned Harry Kane the last time we played Brighton. So a massive steal, £27 million. Of course, there's the other things off the pitch. Hopefully that the club have done their due diligence and there isn't an issue there. And that would be bad if there was. But as a footballing scenario, what a pickup this will be if it goes through. The Christian Eriksen situation, love him or hate him, or we're happy with the way he left or not, on a free with his statistics last season for Brentford when he came in for that from January onward were incredible. He looks the player. The situation at Spurs is quite different, which I know Brian and Sim spoke about, so I won't get into it too much. But very, very good, astute signing for creativity for what we need in that position. Since he left, we haven't had it. So fantastic signing for me. There's a bunch more. I'm going to just go through them quickly, and then we'll talk about Harry Kane's potentially signing a new deal. You got Udogie, you got Bastoni, which I hear is still possible depending on what Inter do, but likely not going to happen. Jed Spence is a right back from Middlesbrough. I like it. I know that there's a little bit of debate in the Spurs community on whether or not it's a good signing. I think it's a great signing. I think you got to sort of have to consider, of course, who's going to be his understudy or his overstudy, I should say. Probably Matt Doherty currently would be the case, unless we bring in somebody else, which I think a lot of people would like to see. I think Doherty fit playing that position will do really well under Conte, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's replaced and we find somebody with a bit more pedigree. But anyway, that's again not something to spend too much time on. This Richarlison deal has been talked about quite a bit for 60 million euros, I think it is. For me, I mean, I recognize his numbers are pretty good. 10 goals, 10 goals plus every season for an Everton side that don't score a ton. I worry a little bit about his attitude, and I know that Conte wants a certain type of player. If he recognizes that he's going to be that type of player and he wants to bring him in, it's hard to argue with Paratici and Conte and what they've done so far. So I'm for it, but I'm also a little bit reluctant, especially for that price. I think we can get better players. Rafinha, I think, was mentioned a little bit as well today. Rafinha for around the same price as Bissouma, like, get it done. I mean, that is imagine having Kulusevski and Rafinha on the right, in two very different players, but talk about depth. And our midfield depth is just nuts, with Yves Bissouma coming in. And then, of course, Kane potentially signing a new deal. This would be huge. I also think it's likely to happen, especially with what's going on right now. If we can crack on with Conte, win a trophy this season, whatever trophy it might be, and then challenge the season after, challenge in the Champions League, play at the highest level. Kane doesn't want to go anywhere. This is his boyhood club. He wants to stay with us. And the Conte was the reason. Conte not coming was the reason his head was turned to go to City last season. And I think it's been turned back, and I think we'll keep him for the rest of his career, arguably, if we stay on track with this, this new sort of regime doing what they're doing, which this is exactly what I want to talk about here. What we've seen so far from this regime, from Conte and Paratici and the players that he's brought in, is it's pretty incredible if it all continues to go the way it's going so far. And it's hard to see it not. I think what we've seen with Romero coming in, what we've seen with Kulusevski come in, Bentancur, yeah, there's been a couple of duds here and there, but they were before Conte. Conte and Paratici working together, there's something special about that, because they both know each other. They know what each other's going to do. And Paratici knows what Conte wants and knows how to find the type of players. And we haven't spent a lot of money. And I know there's that 150 million. Everybody's saying that have they spent it yet? Doesn't matter if they spend it. If they spend really well and we get really good players on a free like Eriksen and Perisic, and we go on to start challenging because we have depth in the squad. Look at that midfield: Skip, Bentancur, Højbjerg, and Yves Bissouma. Imagine having that 4 as an option and being able to switch between a 3 and a 5, or a 3 and a 4 in that mid, or 5 and a 3. You know what I mean? 3-5-2 or 3-3-4-2 or 3-4-3. And of course, this is what he was missing. Conte was missing last season. I think he's come out and said it. It's difficult to change when you don't have the players to change to, from a system perspective. And he's very reliant on systems and systems being trained into the players and how they work. And if you have depth of squad, looks like we're going to be able to have coming into next season, we're going to be able to challenge on all fronts. We're going to be able to get into those games when we play twice a week and still compete and still, put our best version of ourselves out there. It's very exciting, man. I don't know. Like obviously you can tell I'm pretty excited about this. Tell me, you guys, what you think. Get in the comments. Tell us what you think about the window so far. I'm going to give the window so far, this window, not particularly there so far, like across the board, because I've ranked it before, but the window so far, I'm going to give it a 7.5. I think it's been very solid. If Bissouma gets over the line, it goes to an 8. If you bring in Jed Spence, maybe Bastoni, maybe Pau Torres, who's another one who's been listed. We need another defender there, arguably, and I think you would all agree. If you get those key positions, it's a 10. It's one of the most epic transfer windows we've ever had as a club, especially Premier League era, I would say. Of course, the transfer window has become more of a thing in the Premier League era. So I just think, get your rankings in so far. 7.5 for me so far. Again, Bissouma puts it up, and if that gets signed off on this week, I'll put it up at an 8, and then I'm going to hold off on the rest of it. But we're seeing players come in before preseason. This is not something Spurs have done. Maybe one player, and then a couple players in and out. Nothing big. This looks like a team that has ambition, that's acting like a big club, and this is what we've been asking for. Brian Daigle and a lot of the alleviators, myself included to some extent, maybe in a different way, have voiced our concerns in regards to what it means to crack on when you've got an opportunity, and Spurs have just not done that. Daniel Levy has not done that. But in this case, with Conte at the helm, with Paratici, who he's brought in, we're seeing a thing from the club, from this board and this ownership group that we have not seen before. And long may it continue, guys. If it does, if it keeps going and we keep doing it this way and we keep pushing, it's great stuff. It's great stuff. It's great to be a Spurs fan right now. The transfer window usually is torturous because we just wait for nothing. And in this case, we've seen really good transfers happen so far, and it looks like a bunch more is going to happen. So get in those comments, smash a like button on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're new to watching this. We appreciate the support. We'll be back. Brian will be back hopefully later this week with another digest. I'm going to try to keep up. Super busy, obviously everybody is at the moment, but try to keep up, and we'll try to give you more content. And thanks for tuning in. Cheers. Have a good one.